pregnant woman, do I? I'll tell you, I had 3 biological children, and birthing them was a breeze compared to birthing the Christ in me. I'm actually not even sure when I conceived. It may have been when I became a Reiki master, and that began to open all kinds of doors for me. Or perhaps it was when I said yes to James Twyman's call to join the Seminary of Spiritual Peacemaking. Or perhaps it was 2 years later, at the end of that program, when I had the good fortune to be baptized by immersion in the River Jordan and ordained on the Sea of Galilee. In that ordination, in that program and in that ordination, I took vows. Not vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience. I gave those up long ago. But vows of transparency and vulnerability and integrity. And a vow to live my life in trust, surrender, and gratitude. And I can tell you without a doubt that the universe has been lovingly offering me opportunities to live into those vows for the last 10 years. As what happens in any pregnancy, there are changes internally inside the woman who is about to give birth, and there are changes made in the external environment. We may call it nesting. And there were changes that were required of me in this period of gestation, this very long 10-year pregnancy. And they weren't easy choices. I left my paid employment, 2 jobs actually, and was guided to open a holistic healing center called Spirit Matters. I left my 30-year marriage and my 3 children and my home in the suburbs here in South Windsor to move into a 250 square foot basement room to begin my life over completely at 52. Everything that I knew about my life, everything that I had worked toward for all of those years was completely stripped away. I know we all have choice, but sometimes things don't always feel like a choice. You hear the call, and you keep stepping into the unknown with grace, fear, terror, and a lot of faith. And that was my journey. Somewhere along that journey, in a meditation, Yeshua and Magdalene came to me, and they told me that my purpose and my mission was to create heaven on earth. And I said, oh, crap. I'm not sure I know how to do that. I don't remember that in high school. I think they told me I could be either like a car mechanic or a customer service representative. So I figured that was like my divine masculine and my divine feminine at that time. So I said, yes, if this is what I'm here to do, this is what I'll do. And they said that they would guide me. And so for the last 10 years, I have been on a healing journey of my own. And there have been more moments than I care to remember where I have been on my knees or curled up in a ball, not knowing whether I was having a complete mental and emotional breakdown or a spiritual awakening. But since I'm standing in front of you tonight, Phil obviously thought I might have something worth hearing, I'm going to call it a spiritual awakening. And as Reverend Mindy would say, I'm going to call it good. But it has been difficult. I've been in, for any of you who are familiar with pregnancy and birthing language, I've been in transition since June, that lovely period just before the baby is about to be born, where women have been known to ask the question, why the hell did I think this was a good idea, or don't ever touch me again, I'm never going through this again. Since June, I have done a deep dive, some might call it the dark night of the soul, into issues of betrayal, shame, guilt, feeling unsupported, and having to face the ways I have felt those experiences in my life, but more importantly, looking at where I have perhaps not supported myself, where I have betrayed myself, where I have not believed in myself or in other people. And so I'm hopefully coming to the end of that so that I can give birth to this new consciousness that's been coming through me, which I am calling, or she's calling herself, the divine feminist. And she is the perfect balance of the divine masculine and the divine feminine, blending my social activist and my spiritual peacemaker to bring a movement into the world. Because when Yeshua and Magdalene spoke to me, they said the way that you will create heaven on earth is by supporting women in healing their deepest wounds, the feminine wound, the woman wound. And I had to do that work myself before I could birth it into the world. So she's coming. I'm gonna have another contraction any minute now, I can tell. One of the most important things I've learned in this journey, and especially this dark night that I've just been through, is that we can't do this alone. We're not meant to do this alone. We're meant to bring our highest expressions of the Christ consciousness within us into being in community with the support of other people. And so in closing, I just want to thank you all for the support and the community that is Unity of Greater Hartford, and make my commitment to you that I will support you and have your back as you birth your Christ consciousness